speaking about the cost of video game development and the price of gaming and stuff like that. You guys know I'm very passionate about this topic. I've got a lot of very solid views personally about what is okay and what is not okay on this front. And you know, whenever the prices went up over the past year from AAA games, from the traditional $60 to $70 price point, there were a lot of people out there that were going, "Oh, well, the prices haven't gone up, in 2 decades, really, and so it's about time it happened, and it's inflation." And okay, look, man, that is not taking a critical look at the way these companies have been treating us as the consumer, because you're not taking into consideration all the other scummy things that they do to us to pull money out of us and make sure that they're getting what they need to get out of us without needing to raise that price of a AAA game, right? So you want to talk about all the flipping microtransactions. You want to talk about all the pay to win crap, all the battle passes, the DLC that'll come out for a game 2 to 3 months after its release, when that content was already ready for a game or whatever. And look, there are some companies that don't do this stuff, right? But there are a lot that do. Okay, like it was really refreshing to see Larian come out with Baldur's Gate 3, and just, dude, you pay for that game, you get a massive amount of content, you know? And I'm even one of those. I'm one of those game players that even on a free to play game like something like Warframe, a very well done free to play game, or Path of Exile, you know, um, or Lost Ark, really good free to play games. I'm going to support those developers in a monetary fashion, and you know what I mean, because those aren't pay to win games. They're free to play games that are very, very well developed. I got a lot of good game time, lots of game time out of those games. And for me, it made sense to support those developers, right? Um, but you on the flip side of this coin, you've got all these AAA developers going, yeah, we need to raise the prices, when they're already scheming all this other money out of people through these other methods all the time. And a lot of these AAA developers release crap games. Not all of them. There's still some decent ones out there. But you get a lot of these developers that just release crap titles all the time, perform like crap. I mean, Jesus, we just went over an article where Arcane and it's been confirmed that Arcane and EA are already greenlighting the next Jedi game. And Jedi Survivor is still a broken piece of trash. It's still a broken piece of trash. But they made a ton of money off of it because of the name on that game, and because the one before it was decent to pretty good, actually. And they knew they could get away with it. This is the problem, man, And that's a AAA game at a AAA price point. People are still waiting for that game to be fixed 5 months later, But they're like, we'll just greenlight the next one. Who gives a crap? We made money off of it. This is the thing I'm trying to get across to people all the time about. Don't support Arcane anymore. Don't support EA. Those are some scummy, terrible companies, dude. I know gaming's supposed to be about having fun and everything, but look, man, you keep supporting these terrible companies that do this kind of thing to us, they'll keep doing it to you over and over and over again. You support the good companies, absolutely. Put those good companies up on a pedestal. They've shown you they'll give you good content. They've shown you they'll give you good performing games. Support those companies, but you don't support the bad ones. I don't have an issue supporting and giving money to good companies. I have an issue whenever all these bad companies go, yeah, we need to raise the prices. And then they still release trash games. They'll promote the crap out of it. They'll put just as much budget into promotion and marketing of a game than they do the development. And the game comes out and is a hot piece of garbage. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know, Ferret. Maybe, dude, maybe. But I mean, here we go. And here's the deal. Unfortunately, man, this is coming out of Capcom, and Capcom is one of those AAA companies where until Exo Primal came out, I was like, Capcom's like a decent AAA company. They release good performing games, their content's good, and then Exo Primal came out, and it was such a cash grab. The game's not. It should have at the very least been a free to play game, but it wasn't. You can play it on Game Pass, but it's also, if you don't play it on a subscription service, you're going to pay a AAA price tag for that game. And then it's also just riddled with microtransactions, battle pass, microtransactions, you name it. There's just try to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. It was so gross to see it. So gross. And the game wasn't, it was really repetitive. It was really repetitive. They had a decent core for the gameplay there that they could have really built something decent off of. But instead, what they did is they got just the bare minimum of decent gameplay in, and then all they did was focus on trying to like monetize everything in the game. And then you get Capcom's president coming out saying that they want us to pay even more for their games after something like Exo Primal. Get wrecked, dude. How disgusting is this, man? So in a recent exclusive interview with is this Nikai, the president of Capcom, Hirohiro Sugimoto went on record stressing that game development is 100 times more costly than it was back in the Famicom era, but the price of software hasn't increased in kind. You're getting your price, you're getting your extra money out of these other monetization schemes that you're putting into your games, though. He therefore believes the price of games should see a sharp increase to tackle ever-rising wages and the overall cost of producing these games. It takes years to build a AAA game now, and the investment needed to can be in the hundreds of millions, but software prices still float around $50 to $70. Could we see $100 games enter the market? Look, we've already heard speculation GTA 6 is going to be well over $100 for the base game. I haven't seen anything official on that front, but I could actually see it from Rockstar. They're a scummy company to me too. So, when would you stop buying software? Would it take an $80 price tag? What about a $100 price tag? They're the kind of figures that Sugimoto is alluding to in his statement that was recorded by Nikki just days ago. I'm going to give you an example in a moment. After I read this, let me give you an example of a AAA developer that didn't need to do something like this. Personally, I feel that game prices are too low. Development costs are about 100 times higher than during the Famicom era, but software prices have not gone up that much. There's also a need to raise wages. Considering the fact that wages are raising in the industry as a whole, I think raising unit prices is a healthy option for business. These days, games tend to go on sale months after they're released, or more commonly, unless you're Nintendo, they'll find a way onto a subscription service. Recently, the likes of Jim Ryan went on talking about how harmful Xbox Game Pass is for the industry. That's because Jim Ryan works for Sony, and Sony doesn't want anything to change from the way they've always done business. Look, dude, this is the evolution of gaming, and Jim Ryan needs to get on board because Sony is about to have a real eye-opening experience with the fact that Microsoft is about to finally fully acquire Activision Blizzard. This is going to change the game, dude. They've been able to sit on top of Xbox forever doing the same thing they always have, which is just ride ride into the sunset, coasting off of their hardware and software sales. You know what I mean? Look, Microsoft had to find ways to compete. They did that. And now things are going to change for Sony. Jim Ryan needs to get on board. It's happening, dude. That combined with Sugimoto's comments about prices needing to increase across the board to mean that we're on track for $100 games to service in a few years. Let me give you an example here, though. There's a AAA game from an amazing studio that dropped this year. Shadow dropped. They didn't need to invest in. So most AAA games have these massive budgets. We're talking, AAA games are now seeing budgets anywhere from reportedly $200 to $500 million budgets, and half of that's on being spent on marketing and promotion. Yeah. And again, half these games come out and they're balls. They play like crap. They don't have the content they're supposed to have. You name it. But let's just keep our eyes on a game that is actually good. Half of the budget is going to the marketing and promotion of a game, right? And so, look, I'm all about taking care of employees. I think that's an incredibly noble thing that too many I don't care what industry you're in, too many businesses have lost sight of what it means to take care of your employees and your consumers, though. Those are two big things that companies have to understand. Business is obviously about making money, but your employees are the ones that keep you running. Your consumers are the ones that have gotten you to where you are. And if you take care of both of those things, you'll continue to be successful. If you don't, you'll eventually capsize. You'll eventually falter. Tango didn't feel the need to invest in the heavy budget side of promotion or marketing for the game they released this year in Hi-Fi Rush. And then they released that game at a $30 price point, and we're talking about a AAA studio. So you tell me. You know what I mean? There are examples out there of studios that understand how things can be done better. And then you've got these other studios that go, oh, well, you know, we have to put in as much marketing and I get it, dude. You know, okay, I understand that to an extent. The hype train is the thing for a lot of titles. I get it. Okay, the hype train is also something that I think a lot of these developers and publishers have to understand is not working to the extent that it used to. Well, a lot of us gaming enthusiasts that are their consumer also, the way it used to work doesn't necessarily work on a lot of us the way it used to. We've been duped too much by it. And for me personally, and I know a lot of the other people in this community, we would rather see the majority of that money be pushed into the development of a game. And the thing is, like, take a game like Hi-Fi Rush. Again, dude, nobody really knew much about that game. It just got shadow dropped on us earlier this year. It spread like wildfire. Why? They didn't need promotion and marketing. They had word of mouth. They produced an amazing title and it sold itself. If you make great quality products in an industry like this, you don't have to tell people how good it is before it comes out, because people that play the games will tell each other how good the games are when they release. And you'll make money that way. This is like kind of like natural selection, you know what I mean, in the video gaming industry. You make good products, people will find out about it by word of mouth, and it'll do very well, just like Hi-Fi Rush has. If you don't, then, you know, it dies off. Because it's crap. Because you make crap. And that's the way it should be. So obviously there are enough people that are still buying into like the marketing hype and all that stuff. And these companies feel like they need to put $200 to $300 million, half the budget for their games, into the marketing and but I mean, you know, for me, I mean, it doesn't make sense that we're the ones paying the price, dude, for all of this. And again, there are still some decent AAA developers out, but there are a great amount of indie developers out there doing just fine, releasing games at $20 to $30 price points. You know what I mean? And the games are usually bangers compared to the AAA games that we're getting. So what's wrong with the AAA model here? You know what I mean? They want to talk about how much more they need to raise prices because the budgets are just getting too expensive. But there's something wrong with their business model, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense to me. They want to talk about how they need to raise the AAA price when they keep making games like Exo Primal. That's just a huge cash grab. It's disgusting to see it. I'd feel different about it if that was like a free-to-play game and they're like, okay, well, we need to make it's a free-to-play game. We're going to let people get in here, play the game, and we need to make money somehow, some way. I understand that, but it's not. It's a AAA price tag game. And then they also it's just riddled with monetization too. And that's Capcom game where this quote is coming out of, So sorry if I'm not going to buy into the fact that you think you need to raise the prices of your games whenever there are plenty of examples out there of other AAA studios that are absolutely killing it without resorting to your kinds of tactics and feeling like they need to raise prices. They're not even selling their games for half of what you are, It's disgusting, dude.